I can't help but still buy these Batmans. So I am part of that Batman problem.
ShartimusPrime, ShartimusPrime. Reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it. Taking bad hits, taking back hits. Subscribe.
Hey, what's up, you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another love-hate video. Today I'm talking about the things that I love and the things that I hate about the Mcfarland Toys DC Multiverse figures. Last time I did one of these talking about Hasbro Marvel Legends. I have to get it out of the way. I am a Todd Mcfarlane fan. I will discuss my qualms with Todd Mcfarlane as far as how he relates to the DC Multiverse line. I'm not going to get into specifics about maybe his personal mistakes or things that I see as personal mistakes. I don't want to dive deep into that because guess what? I'm human too, and I've made my own mistakes. But if it relates to the DC Multiverse line, I will bring it up. I want to talk about the man, Todd Mcfarlane, just a little bit over here. First off, his work on Spider-Man, his artwork with Marvel. My very first comic book was a Spider-Man book drawn by Mcfarlane. So what can I say, man? It's kind of had an effect on me a little bit, all right? Second thing, and I discussed this on my live stream over on Russ Toy Reviews. By the way, my notes here, these are not just my opinions. These are those of my viewers as well. And during that live stream, I wanted to kind of, get other people's opinion on this statement. Before Mcfarland Toys, there were toys. I don't remember there being retail market collectible action figures sold to teenagers and adults. They didn't exist yet, to my recollection. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but you had straight up toys like my DC Superpowers, my Toy Biz X-Men figures, my Transformers, my TMNT figures. Those are toys. But Mcfarland Toys actually created fully detailed, sculpted staction figures, which were catered to adult collectors. He's the first one to ever do that. Nobody else has ever done that before. As collectors, I think we should remember that. However, with Todd Mcfarlane doing what he does for so long, there are things that I feel like get in the way a little bit. And my number one gripe with Todd Mcfarlane, the man, is that he still does not think that the action figure collector gets to be the artist. He is an incredible artist, and I could understand where there's a rub right there. But in his mindset, he has the sculpts, and he only breaks down the articulation at its minimum. I don't think he wants to go past 22 points of articulation, but I'm not sure if that's a legal requirement or whatnot. But the fact is that every time I've talked to him about it, he just doesn't seem to like articulation, and that frustrates the heck out of me. I'm starting with that side because I got it out of the way that I am criticizing with love, right? That is where these criticisms are coming from. So there's the articulation thing that I just mentioned. And they haven't really been doing it for very long, which is another reason why I get into the history of this thing, is that for the majority of the time that Mcfarland Toys has existed, they have made staction figures. That's where he's in his element, is making those. And these DC Multiverse figures, the Fortnite, the Mortal Kombat figures, this is them trying to do something new. Todd and the team, they're all in this doing something new here. Keep in mind, we had the Dark Days of Marvel Legends from 2007 to what I think all the way until 2015. Some may say 2011 was the real return of Marvel Legends, but we still got tiny Build-A-Figures after that and Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. I think 2016 was the real changing point for Hasbro's Marvel Legends. DC Multiverse has not had nearly the same amount of time making those figures through Mcfarland Toys as Hasbro Marvel Legends has. Blade weapons for gun-wielding characters. Now, this is the thing, the issue, the legal thing with Warner Brothers and DC. They don't want the figures coming with guns. I also would like to see more classic characters. A classic Wonder Woman. Please, why not? We could even use a couple different versions of classic Wonder Woman, but there's not one solid classic Wonder Woman figure out there. So that's a complaint I have. That argument, I feel like a huge hypocrite, or I feel a lot of conflict there, because I love getting a wide array of characters, but Batman is my second favorite hero of all time, and I pick them up. I can't help but still buy these Batmans. So I am part of that Batman problem. Sorry, hella not sorry though, because I'm a Batman fan. Recent figures seem to have a little bit less paint. I only really noticed that on my Hush figure, like all of it has like no paint on there. And I don't know if that's happening because Mcfarland Toys doesn't want to increase their cost on the consumers. They're trying to keep that $19.99 price point, so they're letting off on the paint. I don't know. I haven't seen enough figures to really stand by that statement. And then one thing I've heard a lot of people say is the extra heads. Like, it would be nice if they didn't release a whole other figure that just had a different head on there. I totally agree with that one. I like variants, but I don't like it if it's something that I feel like would have been nice to just come with the original release of the figure. Maybe if they did something a little bit different. Like maybe change the paint apps more than introducing a whole new head sculpt. I always feel like a variant should be something that you missed out on, and it's not that big of a deal. But the alternate head sculpt, I don't know. I think that's too big of a thing to miss out on. And I personally wish that, yeah, it came with interchangeable heads packed in there already. Alternate hands, I see them getting better at this, but for the most part, it would be nice if every DC Multiverse figure came with alternate hands. Then there's the issue of the variants. Cowboy Collector brought this up. I think he'd ordered 2 Supermans and got 2 prototypes in a row when he wanted a Superman with the red and blue. But the first 2 orders, he actually got variants instead when he just wanted the regular version. And I think that's cool that there's running change figures out there, there's chase figures out there and variants. But yeah, it should be a bit less. And people have mentioned that with the gold label and bronze label stuff, and I agree with that too. But if they make it less, then it's going to make it a little bit more fun to find if they're a little bit more rare. Another thing I wanted to bring up, this is very much a business-minded thing that he does, where he likes to claim like the #1 action figure sold or #1 comic figure sold and titles like that. And yeah, it's been brought to my attention that they may not have actually sold the most action figures last year. The way things are divvied up, like with the assortment numbers and everything, Hasbro's not getting a full count for all of their figures when they repeat assortment numbers. So the whole, most action figures sold, that title, I don't know if that's actually true. I don't really think it is. Okay, let's get on to the good stuff. The first thing I wanted to bring up for real is how much better Mcfarland Toys DC Multiverse figures are compared to Mattel's DC Multiverse figures. I think a lot of people forget that. In the last wave of Mattel's DC Multiverse line, things were getting better. Like these movie Aquaman figures. Like, I actually really liked these. I was like, oh, holy crap. We got ankle pivot, all kinds of new stuff going on here. The sculpt looks amazing. I was happy with these more so than the previous DC Multiverse figures from Mattel. However, the first wave of Mcfarland Toys DC Multiverse figures kicked the crap out of these things, man. I mean, we got the Hellbat suit, the armored Batman figure, the Action Comics 1000 and Detective Comic 1000 figures. I thought those were better than the last set of Mattel DC Multiverse figures. And those last waves of DC Multiverse from Mattel were only for like a year. It only lasted like a year or two. It was pretty short until DC Multiverse went over to Mcfarland Toys. I mean, so many of the DC Multiverse from Mattel didn't even have ankle pivot on them, man. And they had the same body mold, so it was weak articulation and a weak buck body used over and over and over again. That drove me nuts. You know what I mean? Like with Mcfarland Toys, we have new sculpts almost every time. Yes, there are some reuses, but for the most part, we're getting new figures like quite often, way more often than Marvel Legends, especially compared to Mattel anyway. The price point, can't beat the price point. The fact that Todd Mcfarlane's company is a private company still means that it's easier for them to manage their prices. They don't have to do the bottom dollar thing like a corporation does, that both Hasbro and Mattel are doing right now for the sake of having money going nowhere in the bank. That's the bottom line, right? Luckily with Mcfarland Toys, they don't have to deal with that. They are a private company. They're not public. So he can set the price to whatever he wants. I don't know how long they're going to keep it like that, but I appreciate that they're still $19.99, and if they come with a Build-A-Figure, they come at $24.99. And somebody mentioned in the live stream that they're willing to pay $30 as long as it just comes with all the accessories that they ask for. I think they said like $30 to $35 if it just came with all the accessories. So there's that too. But sticking with the positive, I like that they're changing. I noticed that some of the plastic has gotten a little bit more flexible, like the hands. I'm able to grip things better over time. I'm noticing changes in the sculpt, like on the ankle joints. I feel like they're listening and they're constantly trying to be better. I noticed that on the design team side of things for sure. And I feel like Todd the man is like that also. If you saw my interview, he was saying that, yeah, nope, we're going to do away with the side-eye thing. Done. It's gone. Like, it's way more off to the side than I thought it would be. Like, this is not what I wanted. Like, we're nixing that idea. Like, I appreciate that. A lot of people are really happy with the Mega figures from Mcfarland Toys. A lot of compliments with those. Those have been consistent. The DC gun issue and the gun pack, that's a positive. Like, a lot of people are responding to that and going, yes, Todd, thank you very much. Looking out for the fans, giving the fans what they want. That's awesome. Can't go wrong with that. A lot of people think Mcfarland Toys is interesting and innovative. And if you don't like Todd Mcfarlane, you have to at least give him credit for having the balls to try new and different things. Not all of them are going to work, but I actually look like, I'm not into the monster truck. There's like a Bat monster truck out there. I don't personally really want that thing, but I think it's very cool that he made it. And for people out there that really want it, I'm especially stoked for you. It's a pass for me, but I think that thing is very cool, and the fact that they actually even made that, I think it's awesome. I gotta say, I really like the face sculpts and paint apps on the figures. I think it was Thirsty for Chicken brought up that he can notice that the female figures' faces look a lot better than the male movie figure faces. So for the female figures on the faces, they look very realistic. And a very underrated figure is the Wonder Woman 1984 movie figure. It was like one of the first waves. That's a great looking figure. The face looks awesome on that one. Another thing that was mentioned was the Build-A-Figure pieces not necessarily connecting well. I think they've gotten better. The Bane one was pretty bad, but I have the Frost King, and that was a lot easier to work with. So I feel like they've made improvements on that, and I like that about Mcfarland Toys. Again, they're really new to this whole thing. I'm trying to be patient. I'm trying to be reasonable, trying to shoot from the middle over here, okay? So that's pretty much all the qualms that I wanted to talk about and all the positives I wanted to get into with the DC Multiverse figures from Mcfarland. I hope I didn't miss any of the big points. I really wanted to try to touch everything. I mean, at the end of the day, man, this is the thing that kind of drives me crazy is that on the Hasbro thing, people get pissed off at the Marvel Legends the most. That's like the number one thing that people are pissed off at is the price points going up, but people are still buying them like crazy. Then the number one gripe from Mcfarland Toys is that it's too many Batman figures coming out from Mcfarland Toys. But people are buying them anyway. Just keep in mind, you guys, the real opinions that are out there are not through videos like this. It's from what actually sells. So if you want to make your point, if you really want to voice your opinion and you want it to really be heard, don't buy it or choose to buy it. That's where your voice is really felt by these companies, is if you're buying their stuff or not buying their stuff. That's where the changes really happen. So I think it's great that Mcfarland Toys is innovative and they're constantly changing. I think they're doing a fantastic job, but there's definitely more work that could be done, just like anything else. And the point of me making these videos right here is I feel like it's good for all of us to kind of touch base, and I just wanted to share how I felt about DC Multiverse in the hands of Mcfarland Toys, and I want it to continue on, and I'm excited for what else they come out with. That Black Adam movie wave looks incredible. So anyway, let me know if I missed any points. Let me know what you love about Mcfarland Toys, DC Multiverse. Let me know what you hate about DC Multiverse Mcfarland Toys. And stay tuned for a Red Robin figure review coming up tomorrow. All right, I'll catch you later. Peace. Hey, new ShartimusPrime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't. Your face.